Jonathan, who's one of the sponsors of the Connecticut Liberty Rally, is on the line. Jonathan, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Good morning, Pastor Will.
How did the rally go last week, by the way? How was the rally Monday?
The rally was amazing. The Register Citizen reported 1,000 protesters showed up. We had a peaceful assembly. We rolled our cars around the Capitol and the governor's residence.
Yes.
People came out and excited and ready to assert their liberty and speak truth to power, that we want our rights back, we want our liberty back. It was a group that was across all the political spectrum. Different political parties were there, but all of us were just under the banner of liberty and speaking
liberty and freedom.
Liberty and freedom, and speaking up for the everyday people, and that's what the CT Liberty Rally is really about. It's a movement, and it's a voice for the people in this time, the people that are stepping forward in action to bring our rights and our assertions to the government in some peaceful way. So that's what the CT Liberty Rally is about. And I really want to.
Let me ask you a question. You're a smart guy. I know you are. The majority of polls, what we're seeing nationally, is people are resistant to opening the country back up by a small majority. My assertion is, if the fact of the matter, most Americans are still working. It's a minority of Americans that are out of work without paychecks. If those numbers were reversed, and the majority of Americans were out of work and not getting a paycheck, I believe you'd have a much louder outcry nationally for the country to be reopened. What do you think?
Well, I want to dust off an old document, the Declaration of Independence, and it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say unless there's a virus, or it doesn't say unless there's terrorism. And right now, I think there's something in what's going on in our society that everybody sees as offensive. Yeah. And someday, when our children and our grandchildren ask us about 2020 and the government enforcing the power to close private businesses, to lock us in our houses, to shut down our churches, to infringe our right to assembly, to force us to wear masks, to close our public schools, to close our public parks, to force us to keep social distance. They enacted the use of drones and bioscans and GPS tracking and digital contact tracing. They proposed the removal of vaccination religious exemption. When all of these liberties were infringed, our children are going to ask us, what did we do? And will we have an answer? And the answer is what we're doing now. We're stepping forward. The CT Liberty Rally is planning another rally on Monday, on April 27th. Yes, we're having a second.
This coming Monday?
This coming Monday. Wow. Same time, same channel, 5 to 7 p.m. at the state capitol, Monday, April 27th. We're rolling again, and we're going to keep rolling until the governor hears the voice of the people.
Well, Jonathan, I've been very compliant to what's going on, and I was hoping that when the governor said had kicked the can down the road again and went to May 20th, I was hoping that from we'd get some answers and we'd get some movement on this. But now we understand that now May 20th means nothing. All it means is he's looking for a plan from his advisors, and that it will be June before we even begin to reopen, and it will take the rest of the year here in Connecticut. I think that's unacceptable. And even a compliant person like myself is starting to get, not so compliant at this point. What do you think?
We know that COVID-19 has been a real health emergency, and we respect and deeply appreciate all the hospital staff, all the nurses, all the doctors that have stepped forward and been in this basic war against this virus and put themselves in line, and we thank them so much for doing that.
Yes,
but we also believe that we must have individual liberty to make health choices for ourselves, the freedom to take safety precautions for ourselves, and we believe every job and every business that provides for a family is essential. Individuals and businesses have to be afforded the right to take safety precautions for themselves. If Walmart and Stop and Shop can find a way to be open without everyone getting sick, so should this ability to be afforded to every business.
Right. Well, what would you say, though? This is a very libertarian thought process. What would you say about people who say, well, your rights end where my rights begin? You don't get to infringe your rights upon my rights. That's the line. So what would you say to people who say, well, Jonathan, I understand what you're saying, but if you're going to walk outside without a mask and you're going to walk around and you're going to not regard social distancing, then you have the potential of infecting other people with the virus. How do you respond?
I'd say that we walk around, we have freedom in America. We love our freedom. We want to be able to go to a ball game, go to a public park, go to a concert. We all walk around every day with a cloud of germs all around us. And, the flu floats around, and every year there's different strains. There's a different mortality rate. It could be 45,000, 80,000. And this is just part of living in liberty, that there's inherent risks and people that need to take appropriate actions. Now, with COVID-19, now that we have real data, we're seeing that the pandemic is pretty clear. Elderly and comorbidities, they're highly susceptible, and they need to take precautions. They need to continue to put on their PPE and, stay out of the public as much as they can and make sure
what would be wrong then? Because, people, honestly, what you're saying, a lot of people would bristle over. Okay, so what would be wrong if we allowed businesses to reopen, but at the same time, until we had a better handle on decline, like the Washington put out, 2-week decline, phase 1, 2 more weeks, phase 2, 2 more weeks, phase 3, 6 weeks process. What would be wrong with saying, okay, we're going to let businesses open, however, you still have to observe social distancing and you have to wear masks? What would be wrong with that? Or would you accept that as a compromise?
Well, I think that, understanding that there's these personal protections that people are still going to have to take in order to engage in business is going to be a way of life for a time being. I think that what's really happening is that we're seeing that we have real data on the virus and what's really happened. The studies that have been done by USC and in Santa Clara County showing that this has been a much wider spread infection, 50 to 85 times wider infection rate than what's actually been projected, that the mortality rate is so much lower, that we can start to go about regular life and not have to live in fear all the time, and starting people that are ready to open their businesses and can have their employees operate safely. I think really what I'm saying is that I think we've really, unfortunately, based on what we're going to see for a mortality rate from this virus, and obviously every single person that passes away from a disease is sad and is tragic, and we don't like, but it's that this was a vast overreaction in that we said that there was going to be 90 to 150 million cases of COVID, and that there was going to be a 2 to 4% mortality rate, and millions of people are going to die, and it was 2.2 million, and it was 250,000, and then 100,000, then 80,000. Now we're, Lord willing, thank God, looking at 65,000 people, and that is a lot, and that's really sad.
Sure.
But the thing is, there's a vested interest in the politicians that made these decisions to ruin people's lives and close their business, and going to be bankruptcies coming from this, and a great recession coming from this, and now they have a vested interest to save face. They're not going to go around and say, "Oh wait, just kidding, we made these huge mistakes. Whoops, sorry." It obviously is tragic, but then they have to save face, and they slowly have to continue the narrative and make sure they don't look foolish because they know their political lives are on the line.
Yeah. So talk to the rally again Monday, this coming Monday, 5 to 7. Same thing. You're going to kind of assemble at Bushnell Park with the cars and then rally around the Capitol. Is that it?
Exactly. We're meeting up at 4 p.m. Starting on Monday, and we're at the streets around Bushnell Park. We're going to roll out at 5 p.m. We're going to have an hour of protest from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Connecticut Capitol. At 6 p.m., we'll head over to the governor's residency, and we'll roll around the governor's residency. We have the specific protest rules again. We're asking people to please stay in your cars, exhibit social distancing, keep the traffic moving, obey all traffic laws, yield to all emergency vehicles. We want to keep this safe. We want to have put a good face on the face of the people here that are concerned for their liberty and for their businesses and their livelihoods in Connecticut. We want to do it in an orderly way. And there's a map of the route that we'll be taking for the rally, and it's all on our website at ctlibertyrally.com.
Yeah. Of course, I'll end it with the quote from Benjamin Franklin, right? Those who would be willing to give up liberty for the comfort of safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.